Hello, my friend. This is Anthony Digmann, and welcome back to Passionately Catholic. What I want to talk about today is a couple of spiritual golden nuggets from St. Ignatius of Loyola and his book, The Spiritual Exercises. So he talks about an examination, okay, the examination of conscience. And not necessarily an examination of conscience like you might think of before the sacrament of communal penance, for example, or an examination of conscience that you might go through yourself before going to the sacrament of reconciliation or confession and breaking down, well, did I violate this commandment or this commandment, and how? So there's a couple different kinds of examens, okay, that St. Ignatius of Loyola recommends. And one of them is the general examen. The other one is the particular examen. And both of them are extremely useful. St. Jose Maria Escriva said that the general examen is like a spiritual shield. And he said the particular examen is like a spiritual sword that we can attack and go after the vices in our life, the sins in our life. And then the general examen is like the shield that we continue to protect ourselves from all vices or attacks or temptations in the spiritual life. So these are really awesome. Let me sum them up for you. So the general examen is something that can be done throughout the day, especially in the evening is a great idea. And after doing this for several months, actually the last couple of years, but I was intermittent with it, but being more faithful to it each evening over the last several months, I really think that this is key to the spiritual life. And if we're going to grow in the spiritual life, we need to do this. The general examen is at the end of the day, we do things like putting ourselves in the presence of God, recognizing that we're with Him, recognizing that all the blessings in our life, okay? Realizing and thanking God for all of the blessings that He's provided throughout that day. And then carefully going throughout the day, looking at our thoughts and our words and our actions, and where did we fail? Where did we make mistakes throughout the day? And going through those slowly and being careful with each of those and looking throughout our day, and then bringing those to God and asking God for forgiveness, expressing our contrition and sorrow, asking God for forgiveness, and then making a resolution going to the next day that we'll reach out to God for His mercy and help if we encounter, whatever we encounter for the next day, whatever temptations we may encounter. Okay, so that's the general examen. And again, I think that's absolutely vital for growing in the spiritual life and growing in virtue and growing in holiness as part of the universal call for holiness, which is true for all of us, all of our calling. The other one, the particular examination of conscience, is again like that spiritual sword where we really root out an attack, or maybe a spiritual spade or shovel, where we dig out and uproot the evil tendencies and the sins, the vices present in our life. So what we do with the particular examen is we pick a particular vice that we want to grow out of, overcome, not fall into anymore, okay? Or we pick a particular virtue that we do want to practice, okay? A particular virtue that we want to enhance. And then in the particular examen, we go throughout our day and we may stop, say, 2 times a day, maybe at noon and then maybe again in the evening. And we look at how many times did I either fall into this or how many times did I actually practice this good thing that I want to be practicing. And then we mark it down. We mark down a number of times, okay? So for the first half of the day and then the second half of the day. And we might go on and do this for maybe a week, says St. Ignatius of Loyola in the Spiritual Exercises. And throughout that week, this should bring a considerable amount of insight to where we're at with this particular vice we're trying to overcome or the virtue that we're trying to build. And by paying active, conscious, intentional attention to the course of our day and the course of our week, this should become easier and we should be able to make more growth in our spiritual life and holiness. If you want to grow even more in your spiritual life and holiness, I have to recommend a series that we did here on Passionately Catholic a few months ago, and it took us over a year to get it all done, but you can complete it in 123 days if you're interested. We walked through the spiritual classic Introduction to the Devout Life by St. Francis de Sales. And if you look below in the description, you can find the link for the whole series, or you can visit anthonydigmann.com/iReflections. IDL for Introduction to the Devout Life. And you can sign up there to subscribe to the channel for one. Be sure to like this video too. But you can sign up to get daily emails directly from me each day, where I will send you the new video in the series, so that each day you can watch these videos. They're not very long, but what I do is I walk through Introduction to the Devout Life with you. Incredible spiritual masterpiece by St. Francis de Sales, and he gives so many spiritual golden nuggets for how to grow in the spiritual life, the sacraments, prayer, golden nuggets like the general examen and the particular examen, which I shared with you this evening. But of course those are not in there, because those are from St. Ignatius of Loyola in the spiritual exercises. If you like the video, be sure to like, subscribe, share this video with somebody that you love and care about, who it could benefit, and I will see you again in the next episode.